श्रीनिवासेति श्रेष्ठदयापात्रं गुणान्वितः कौशिकोऽनन्तरङ्गाख्यष्टं येतां भुवीन्यस्तात्मीयपरं वरप्रगुरो वैराग्यभाग्यो ददौ वेदान्तां सारवन्तमनघात् श्रीनिवासात् गुरोः श्रीशैलान्वयकौस्तुभस्थितनीं श्रेयोनिधे श्रीनिधेः वन्दे साधुकटाक्षकेणीं श्रीकृष्णदेशिकं श्रीनारायण योगीन्द्रभदारिकृपाश्रयं मृगेशपादविदधम् श्रीनिवासमुनिं भजे। व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं जगतेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शकदातं तपोनिधिं पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रन्थां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीमष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीं यत्पदाम्भोरुहत्यानुविध्वस्ताजयकल्मषः स्तुतामुपयातो पुण्योऽग्नेयं नमामि तं यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तरितराणि गुणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोः भगवतोऽस्य देकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणो प्रपद्ये। श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्य कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां दुरासुधि। rAmAnuja नमः। Offering my pranamams to all the Bhagavatas in this satsanga, I shall resume the next session, that is the 48th session in the study of Gita Bhashya with Tatparya Chandrika. We had just finished the study of the 15th shloka of the 4th chapter in the previous class, where evam jnatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhi kuru karmaiva tasmat tvam purvaihi purvataram kritam. So Krishna cites the Anushtana Parampara for Karma Yoga and tells Arjuna to follow the earlier mumukshus and what he taught to Vivaswan long back during the beginning of the Manvantara and how it was passed on to Manu and others, and is cited, that is what is cited by Lord Krishna, and so that Arjuna also should follow their steps and perform Karma Yoga only is what is the teaching of Krishna in this particular shloka, the 15th shloka. Evam jnatva kritam karma, karma kritam, purvairapi mumukshubhihi. So, tasmat tvam karmaiva kuru, purvaihi purvataram kritam. The purvataram means puratanam, it is very old. It's not that I am teaching you only now, but it has been existing ever, and I taught it long back, and you please follow that only is what is the teaching of Krishna. Continuing further to the 16th shloka, kim karma kimakarmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshami yat jnatva mokshyase ashubhat. This is this particular prakarana, the shlokas, each and every shloka is very significantly commented upon by Sri Bhashyakara, and every word in the shlokas have a lot of special meaning in our Bhashya, and that we need to give special attention to many of the words here and follow the Bhashya carefully. Vakshamanasya karmano dujnanata maha. So Krishna says you follow the earlier grades, but it's not so easy to understand. It is very difficult to understand. Karma Yoga, which was followed by mumukshus, is not so easy. It's extremely difficult. So Vakshamanasya karmano dujnanata maha is the starting statement for this shloka by Bhashyakara. The fact that the nature of Karma Yoga, which is going to be taught further, Vakshamanasya, is most difficult to understand, is going to be told in this. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha. Kim karma kim akarma atra kavayaha api mohitaha yat jnatva ashubhat mokshyase tat karma te pravakshyami. Yat jnatva ashubhat mokshase tat karma te pravakshyami. So what is kim karma? What is meant by Karma Yoga? Kim akarma? What is meant by akarma? Atra, about in this aspect, about this. Kavayaha api, even the most knowledgeable ones, are mohitaha, they are perplexed. Yat jnatva, knowing which, ashubhat mokshyase, you will be liberated from this samsara, which is ashubha or inauspicious. Tat karma, yat jnatva ashubhat mokshyase, knowing which you will be liberated from this samsara. Tat karma, that karma yoga, te pravakshyami, I will teach you well. That is the anvaya for the shloka. So the Bhashya for this, mumukshuna anushteyam karma kim rupam, akarma cha kim, akarma iti kartuhu atmano yathatmya jnanam uchyate, anushteyam karma tad antargatam jnanam cha kim rupam iti ubhayatra kavayaha vidvamsaha api mohitaha yathavat na jananti. एवं अंतर्गतज्ञानं यत् कर्म तत् ते प्रवक्ष्यामि यत् ज्ञात्वा अनुष्ठाय अशुभात् संसारबन्धात् मोक्ष्यसे कर्तव्यकर्मज्ञानं हि अनुष्ठानफलम्. So words like here karma, akarma, jnatva, all those things are very significantly commented upon. Every shloka in this particular prakarana is very difficult to understand and has been explained with great significance according to the context by Bhashikara. Mumukshuna anushteyam karma kim rupa. What is the nature of karma to be adopted by a person desiring to attain liberation? Mumukshu, moktum ichchuhu, mumukshu, one who wants to attain liberation. Anushteyam karma kim rupam. What is that he has to adopt and perform? Akarma cha kim. What is the nature of akarma? Akarma iti kartuhu atmano yathatma jnanam uchyate. So the meaning of akarma is explained as the yathatmya jnana, the real nature of the individual self. Atmanaha yathatmya jnanam. Yatha atma, as it exists, that is the real nature, the actual, the complete nature, knowledge of that, atma yathatmya jnanam, atmanaha, that is the individual selves, the real nature of the individual self, that is addressed as akarma here. Anushteyam karma tad antargatam jnanam cha kim rupamiti ubhayatra kavayaha vidvamsopi mohitaha yathavat na jananti. So, kim karma, kimakarmeti kavayopi atra mohitaha. Atra means ubhayatra. That means with respect to karma, with respect to akarma. What is the nature of the karma to be adopted? And the knowledge of self, which is very much a part of it, which is embedded in it. In these two aspects, even the most knowledgeable ones are perplexed. Means, yathavat na jananti. They do not know the real nature as it is. So I will teach you that. Evam antargata jnanam yat karma tatate pravakshyami. So antargatam jnanam, that is what is being taught here. So this is I will teach you such karma which has knowledge embedded in it. Knowing which means yat jnatva means anusthaya. Having adopted and meaning adopting and practicing which you will get rid of ashubha or the bondage of samsara. So it is well known that the knowledge of karma that is ordained has the fruit of the nature of practice only. So kartavya karma jnanam hi anusthana phalam. The jnana of kartavya karma, that is what is to be performed, ordained, the karma, the duties that are ordained, the karma that is ordained, the jnana of that, kartavya karma jnanam, is anusthana phalam. The fruit of that is nothing but in anusthana. So one knows means one is performing. That is the meaning of that. Vaksyamanasya karmanaha. In order to make it clear that the terms karma and akarma. So the preface for this shloka, the opening statement by Bhashyakara is Vaksyamanasya karmanaha. Vaksyamanasya karmanaha durjnanatamaha. So So in order to make it very clear that the terms karma and akarma used here are not about something different from the karma yoga that is being taught so far. So this entire chapter is about karma yoga only, that is continuing the teaching on karma yoga, and so it is not something very different here. Karma and akarma are very much part of that. So Bhashya says Vakshamanasya karmanaha. Further it will be made clear in the 18th shloka that both karma and akarma are parts of the same karma yoga. Here also it is said as Tatate karma pravakshyami. So what I am going to teach you is karma only, karma yoga. Tatte karma pravakshyami. Kuru karma iva. That is a teaching here. Mumukshuna anushteyam karma kim rupam. So why that Dujnanata Maha with Bhashyakara said difficulty in knowing the nature of karma is indicated by the word Mumukshuna anushteyam. The words Mumukshuna anushteyam. It is not just karma done by anybody else or any other adhikari. So anybody else wants any other fruit, they can just perform the karma and get the fruits. It's not so difficult to understand or do, etc. But what is to be done by a mumukshu who is desirous of getting liberated from this samsara? That is the most difficult aspect to understand. That is why it is said mumukshuna anushteyam karma kim rupam akarma cha kim. Akarma iti kartuho atmano yatha atma jnanam uchyate. The word akarma does not mean here absence of karma. It is not karma abhava as told by other commentators. Karma abhava vishishta jnana is being told, but that is not what is accepted by us. Karma is not karma abhava, but atmano yatha atma jnana. It is needed for the anusthana of the doer, and so it is said as kartuhu atmano yatha atma jnana. Anushteyam karma tadantargatam jnanam. Meaning of kavayaha in this particular context is also vidvamsaha, the knowledgeable ones. Yathavat na jananti. The word mohitaha implies ajnana or not knowing, and ayatha jnana, not knowing it properly as it is, not having yathavat jnana. So both are together told in Bhashya as yathavat na jananti. Na jananti is ajnana. Yathavat na jananti is ayatha jnana. So both are included in this. They are perplexed by the Shastras. Evam antargata jnanam yat karma tatte pravakshyami. So this is a very unique meaning according to our Bhashya, and it is in line with the context here. Though the shloka starts with Krishna teaching two aspects, kim karma, kim akarmeti. The second half of the shloka has tatte karma pravakshyami, addressed by only one word karma. So the shloka starts with kim karma, kim akarmeti, but the second part is tatte karma pravakshyami. That is why it is both combined in one, that is karma pravakshyami. And so earlier also, like it was said, kuru karma eva. So these are all important things that has been stressed in our Bhashya and explained very properly in the context. Further, in the next shloka again, Gahana Karmano Gatihi, that is also Ekavachana, Karmanaha Gatihi. So, karma is the main aspect and akarma is its attribute, can be understood here. The meaning of tatate, tatu in tatte karma pravakshyami is given in the Bhashya as evam antargata jnanam yate karma. Tatu means evam antargata jnanam karma. Karma which has the knowledge as very much an essential part of it. Yate jnatva anusthaya ashubhat samsara bandhat mokshase. This is also significant. Mokshase ashubhat. Ashubha can mean anything in different contexts. It can be a just very simple, normal, something very inauspicious or whatever it is. But here, in the Moksha Shastra Prakarana, Ashubha is samsara bandhana. So getting rid of the bondage of samsara is the ultimate benefit. And so Bhashya is samsara bandhatu mokshase. The Mula Shloka simply says yatnyatva mokshase ashubhat. So jnatva is also significantly commented. It's not simply jnana, but it is anusthaya, because kartavya karma jnanam hi anusthana phalam. So the fruit of knowledge is adoption in practice. The knowledge of what is taught to be done would lead one naturally to practicing the same. So karma jnana, or knowledge of the karma, is the means to practice or anusthana. The word jnatva indicates both karma jnana and anusthana by means of ajahal lakshana, that is together without leaving out the primary meaning. In the 15th shloka, here it was already told as Kuru Karmaiva Tasmatvam, perform or practice karma yoga. Kuru was told clearly. So here it is taken, if it is taken as mere knowledge without anusthana, the teaching which ordains anusthana, which was told earlier, would become futile. So Kuru Karmaiva will not be of meaning. So here also jnatva has to be interpreted as anusthaya. So that is what we can see in the Bhashya. The meaning of jnatva. So if I simply want to know something about karma, I know karma yoga. So what? What is the next step? It has to be put in to anusthana. So jnatva has been very clearly commented as anusthaya. So to be taken as jnana. Jnatva is jnana and anusthana. Jnatva anusthaya. So it is not just knowing. That is also an important meaning in this particular shloka explained by Bhashyakara. So that particular shloka that highlights the difficulty in understanding, because even the most knowledgeable ones are perplexed about karma and akarma, etc. And it is not done by anybody else, but what is to be done by a mumukshu, and knowing which one can get rid of the very bondage of samsara itself, and that is what I am going to teach you further, is what Krishna is telling. So moving further, 17th shloka, karmano hyapi bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi kutaha asya durjnanata ityatra aha. Why is it so difficult to know, difficult to understand, is going to be explained further. What was told earlier, was kavayopyatra mohitaha. Even the most knowledgeable ones are perplexed. What was told, it's very difficult to understand. And what is the reason? So there are so many different aspects with respect to karma, vikarma, akarma, and so on. So that is all going to be explained in the Bhashya, starting here. Kutaha asya durjnanata karmano hyapi bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. He means due to what reason? Karmanaha api bodhavyam vikarmanascha bodhavyam akarmanascha bodhavyam karmanaha gatihi gahana. Because one has to know karmanaha api bodhavyam. There is the aspect of karma also which is to be known. Vikarmanascha bodhavyam. One has to also know about the different varieties of karmas, vividha karmas. Akarmanascha bodhavyam. There is also to be known about jnana or knowledge, akarma. So for all these reasons, karmanaha gatihi gahana. The way of knowing the nature of karma is gahana, means inscrutable. It is impossible of investigation completely. It's unfathomable, very difficult to understand. Yasmat moksha sadhana bhute karmaswarupe bodhavyam asti. Bhashya is a bit detailed for this shloka because it's a very significant shloka. Again, there are very different significant terms here to be understood properly. Yasmat moksha sadhana bhute karmaswarupe bodhavyam asti. The reason due to which there is to be known about the karma, nature of karma, which is the means of liberation. Because of that reason, it is difficult to understand. Yasmat karanat moksha sadhana bhute karmaswarupe bodhavyam asti vikarmanicha nitya naimittika kamya rupena tat sadhana dravyarjanadhyakarena cha vividhatam apannam karma vikarma akarmani jnane cha bodhavyam asti gahana durvijnana mukshoho karmano gatihi. That is a Bhashya. Yasmat moksha sadhana bhute karma swarupe. So it is not karmanohyapi bodhavyam means it's not simply the karma. Again, we have to keep in mind very clearly that this is the karma yoga which is told here is moksha sadhana bhuta karma yoga. That is the means to attaining liberation. Moksha sadhana bhuta karma swarupa. Bodhavyam asti. Vikarmani cha. There is also to be known about vikarma. What is vikarma is explained. Nitya naimittika kamya rupena tat sadhana dravyarjana adhyakarena cha vividhatam apannam karma. Vikarma. So vikarma is explained like that. Karma is found in several forms such as nitya karma, which are ordained daily duties. Naimittika karma, ordained occasional karmas, and kamya karma. Vedic karmas performed with some fruit in mind. All these things, and not only just these, tat sadhana dravyarjanadi akarena cha vividhatam apannam. Also the forms such as dravyarjana, etc., earning all the materials needed, everything for performing all these nitya naimittika kamya karmas, that is also included in this, which assist in performing the nitya naimittika karma, that is dravyarjana and other things. That is earning all the materials required and all those things. They are also included in this vikarma, vividhatam apannam karma. So it is present in so many different varieties, and all these things put together are called vikarma here. Akarmani jnanecha bodhavyam asti. These are the three aspects of karma: karma, vikarma, and akarma. Akarmani jnanecha bodhavyam asti. And there is to be known about akarma, which is knowledge. Jnane cha, that is the knowledge of the self. What is jnana told here is knowledge of the individual self. Gahana durvijnana mumukshoho karmano gatihi. For that reason only, the way to understand the nature of the karma with respect to one desirous of attaining liberation, mumukshu, is inscrutable or very difficult to understand. Vikarmani bodhavyam nitya naimittika kamya dravyarjanado कर्मणि फलभेदकृतं वैविध्यं परित्यज्य मोक्षैकफलतया एकशास्त्रार्थत्वानुसन्धानं तदेतद् प्रपञ्च्यते. So the aspect to be known about vikarma, vikarmani bodhavyam. So there is another little more explanation given in the Bhashya. That is, with respect to vikarma, what is to be known is that having the firm decision in mind that one who is after liberation, one who is a mumukshu, should leave out the varieties of benefits that are seen in the nitya naimittika kamya karmas and dravyarjana and other such karmas, and think that all these fruits or benefits are only means for the purpose of attaining liberation. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi eka, that is nishchayatmaka buddhi, one who is very clearly focused steadfastly on attaining liberation. Every act that is performed by such a mumukshu, such a person, has to be always with the single mind that it is for the purpose of getting liberated. That is a vyavasayatmika buddhihi. Those who are desirous of so many other things, they are doing so many other things. Avyavasayatmika buddhi, for them it is taught. Bahushaka hyanantascha buddhayo avyavasayinam. Avyavasayinam buddhayaha, those who do not have a single-minded focus on getting liberated. Avyavasayinam buddhayaha bhushakaha anantascha. There are innumerable karmas present for so many benefits. Whereas the person who is steadfastly focused on getting liberated, his mind is very clearly focused on performing everything towards only one single goal, attaining liberation. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi eka. That was told earlier itself. That is being cited again here by Bhashyakara. So, nitya naimittika kamya dravyarjanado karmani. All these different varieties of karma, nitya, naimittika, kamya, dravyarjana, everything. Alabheda kritam vaividhyam. The vaividhya, the variety is because of the variety in the fruits that are obtained by all these different types of karmas. that is parityajya, leaving it out completely, giving up all those variety of fruits that can be obtained by all these various karmas. Mokshaika phalataya, just to attain moksha alone, that is being only the fruit in mind. Ekashastrarthatva anusandhanam. Everything is the purpose of all these are only towards moksha. Ekashastrarthatva. That is tadetad vyavasayatmika buddhi eka ityatra eva uktam. There itself it has been explained already in the second chapter, and so iti naiha prapanchate. It's not explained further. It's not going to be explained further here in detail. So going into a little more details from Tatparya Chandrika. Yasmat moksha sadhana bhute karma swarupe bodhavyam asti. There are several things to be known about the nature of karma. Is told in the shloka as karmanokyapi bodhavyam. So that would mean that one has to definitely know and decide the specific aspects about the nature of karma. That is why the Bhashya says karma swarupe bodhavyam asti. The word swarupa in Bhashya also indicates gahana karmano gatihi. The word gatihi in that is to be taken to mean bodhavya prakara. That is the way in which it has to be known, the various ways of karma to be understood, then of course put to practice. So that is why it is very difficult. That's why karma swarupe bodhavyam asti has been made clear in the Bhashya. Vikarmanicha. So the meaning of the word vikarma, karma are unique to our Bhashya, and it has been explained differently in various other commentaries. Vikarma is not to be interpreted as per Vishnu Purana. Vikarma is also used in various other contexts in different meanings. Pashandino vikarmasthana. There is Vishnu Purana shloka where vikarma means viruddha karma, acts which are opposed to dharma. So that is not the meaning to be taken here. So the upasurga V in vikarma is to be taken to mean vaividhya, that is a variety, and that too anushtheya vaividhya. That is the karmas which are performed, the variety of karmas. And why is that variety coming? Because of the variety in fruits which those karmas give. That is to be understood here. So that is well known in the form of Nitya Karma, Naimittika Karma, Kamya Karma, and Dravyarjana and other things. So or anything else that is needed. So Akarmani Jnanecha Bodhavyam Asti. The meaning of Akarma is Jnana here again, which is embedded in Karma Yoga, which is an essential part of Karma Yoga. The meanings of Vikarma, Akarma given by other commentators as Akarma is they are given as vikarma is given as prohibited karma, that is viruddha karma, which is prohibited, and akarma is interpreted as keeping quiet without doing anything, karma bhava, and so these are all not accepted by us, as that will completely contradict the conclusion gahana karmano gatihi. And everywhere the teaching is kuru karma, etc. So all these things are not accepted by us. Gahana is durvijnana mumukshoho karma. The word gahana means dushpraveshatva, that is impossible to enter. Here it is through knowledge, and that is indicated in the Bhashya as gahana, durvijnana. So vikarmani bodhavyam, what is that is to be known by a mumukshu, even with respect to karmas which are done for various fruits. That is summarized as mokshaika palataya ekashastra arthatva anusandhanam. That is the most important message here. That was told earlier itself in vyavasayatmika buddhihi eka. It is already taught and it is not explained what Bhashyakara says here. So it can be taken as it is not explained by Bhashyakara or it is not explained by Bhagavan Krishna. Iha naiha prapanchate. It is not further explained here. So, continuing further, karma karmanoho bodhavyam aha. Now, Krishna told the difficulty in understanding the karma to be done by a mumukshu. And why is the difficulty? Because there are so many varieties and so many things to be done. Karma, akarma, vikarma, all to be known. And what is that to be known about that is going to be told next. So Krishna said one has to know about karma, one has to know about vikarma, one has to know about akarma and all those things. Now, what is that to be known? That knowledge is going to be told here. Karma akarmanoho, karma akarmanoho bodhavya. The aspect to be known about karma, that is karma yoga, and akarma, that is jnana related to that, is taught in the following shloka. Karmani akarmayah pashyet, akarmani cha karmayaha. Sa buddhiman manushyeshu sa yuktaha kritsna karma krite. Again a very, very significant shloka. Karmani akarmayah pashyet, akarmani cha karmayaha. Yaha karmani akarma pashyet, yaha akarmani cha karma, saha manushyeshu buddhiman, saha yuktaha, saha kritsna karma krite. So the words are all looks like sometimes very simple and ordinary words, yuktaha, kritsna karma krita, etc. But in this context, they have a very, very special meaning. So, karmani akarmayah pashyet, one who sees the real knowledge of the individual self in karma. Yaha akarmani karma. In the same way, one who sees karma, the knowledge of the Atman, being steadfast in the knowledge of the Atman. Saha manushyeshu buddhimana, he is an intelligent one among humans. Saha yuktaha, he is only eligible for moksha. Saha kritsna karma krite, he is the one who does all ordained karmas. The gist is, while doing karma yoga, one has to contemplate on the knowledge of the Atman. Karmani akarma pashyet. While doing jnana yoga, akarmani cha karma, one has to be doing the ordained duties. Only such a person will be eligible for liberation, as he is the one who practices the teaching of the Shastras completely, properly. Krishna karma krita. So it's akarma shabdena atra karmetarate prastutam atmajnanam uchyate. That is a Bhashya. Akarma shabdena karma itarat prastutam atmajnanam uchyate. By the word akarma, what is meant is atmajnana, knowledge of the self, which is different from karma. Karma itarat. So in this context, where karma yoga is going to be taught, where karma is the general word used everywhere, the word akarma is relating to karma, and it is not, it should be meaning something very closely related to karma, but not karma. So that is interpreted as jnana. That is, what is a jnana in karma is the knowledge of the self. That is atma jnana. So that is how it has been interpreted. And prastutam, ita karma itarat, atra prastutam, which is already being taught here. Atma jnanam uchyate. Karmani kriyamane eva atma jnanam yaha pashyete. Akarmani cha atma jnane vartamana eva yaha karma pashyete. That is the anvayartha for that. Karmani karma pashyete, akarmani cha karma yaha is explained in the Bhashya. Karmani kriyamane eva atma jnanam yaha pashyete. Akarmani cha atma jnane vartamana eva yaha karma pashyete. So, meaning is one who sees knowledge of the self while performing karma yoga, and one who sees karma while being steadfast in the contemplation of the self. Kim uktam bhavati? What is being told by that? Looks very, the anvayartha it also looks a little confusing. What is the explanation? What is the real meaning of that? Kim uktam bhavati? Kriyamanam eva karma atmayatha atmyanusandhanena jnanakaram yaha pashyet. Tacha jnanam karmani antargatataya karmakaram yaha pashyeti iti uktam bhavati. Is told so nicely explained in the Bhashya. Kriyamanam eva karma. What is meant by this is one who realizes the karma which is being performed. Kriyamanam eva karma. It is while being performed. Atmayatha atmyanusandhanena. With a continuous contemplation on the individual self, the real nature of the individual self, jnanakaram yah pashyet, it takes the form of the knowledge. So the karma is going on being performed continuously, and at the same time, when one is fully steadfast in the knowledge of the real knowledge of the self, it becomes jnanakara. It takes the form of knowledge itself. That is the meaning of karmani akarmaya pashyet. Similarly, one who treats the knowledge of the self as being of the form of the karma, as it has in it the contemplation of self as a necessary part. Why is that to be done? Because jnanam karmani antargatataya karmakaram pashyet. Because while one who is doing jnana yoga and continuously contemplating on the individual self, and one has to see even the karma in that, because it is antargata in the karma yoga, in the karma. Karmani antargatataya karmakaram yaha pashyet. That is the meaning of that. Kriyamanehi karmani kartrubhuta atmayathatmyanasandhane sati tadubhayam sampannam bhavati. So how is it possible to get both of these together? While doing the karma, if one contemplates on the real nature of the self, who is actually the doer, both these will get fulfilled. So there is a doer and there is a knowledge of the doer, about the doer, and the performer of the doer is actually doing something, and at the same time contemplating on the nature, that in the real nature he is not doing all these things. It does not the self, because the nature of the self is pure consciousness. And why all these karmas are coming? It is because of the prachina karma which is existing, and the body association with the prakriti and all these things. So what is being done is only due to the association with prakriti and not in the real nature of the self and things like that. So this is when kartrubhuta atmayatatmyanasandhana. The doer, who is the real nature of the doer, and doing the anusandhana of such self, individual self, while doing the karma, kriyamanehi karmani, tadubhayam sampannam bhavati. Both these will be achieved. So, evam atmayathatmyanasandhana garbham karma yaha pashyet saha buddhiman. So, buddhiman manushyeshu, the shloka says simply a normal word, it uses buddhiman manushyeshu. What is the meaning of buddhiman is explained as kritsna shastrarthavit manushyeshu saha yuktaha. Yuktaha means mokshaya arhaha. Sa eva kritsna karma krite, kritsna shastrartha krite. So all these words are very significant here. In this way, one who views karma, which has in it the contemplation of the real self, nature of the self, he is an intelligent one. He is the one who knows what is to be known from the entire Shastras, and he is the one who is put to practice, who has put it to practice. He is a yukta, meaning such a person only is deserving liberation. And he is the one who performs all that is ordained in the Shastras. Kritna Shastrartha Krite. What was told in the previous shloka, Karmano Khyapi Bodhavyam, Bodhavyam cha Vikarmanaha, Karmano Khyapi Bodhavyam. One has to know about karma is that part of what is to be Bodhavya, what is known. Bodhavya in that is Karmani Akarmaya Pashyet. That is one who sees akarma while performing karma. And akarmanascha bodhavyam, what is to be known about akarma is akarmanicha karmayaha. While doing akarma, one has to see karma. So that is what is explained here. That is, akarma is jnana here. So akarma shabdena karme tarate prastutam atma jnanam uchyate. So the meaning of akarma accordingly is given as atma jnana, and not jnana abhava swatantra jnana nishtha vishaya. That is, jnana nishtha is jnana yoga, being steadfast in the knowledge of the self. So it is not swatantra jnana nishtha with jnana bhava. That is karma bhava swatantra jnana nishtha vishaya. It is not that. It is atma jnana with while doing karma. So it is not jnana yoga without any karma. So the vitpatti of akarma is karma itarat, which is being taught here as karma yoga. So, and in that karma and jnana are both present, and karma itarat means the aspect of knowledge of the self. So atra in Bhashya means karma yoga upadesha prakarane. That is the meaning of atra. While in the context of teaching karma yoga, karmani kriyamane eva, this is the explanation of the shloka. The avadharanas karmani kriyamane eva atma jnanam, atma jnane vartamana eva karma pashyate. Eva, two avadharanas are there in the Bhashya. That karmani kriyamana eva, atmajnane vartamana eva. It eliminates any doubt that karma and jnana are not related. It very clearly says that kriyamana eva, atmajnane vartamana eva. That means they are very, very closely related, and jnana is very much an integral part of karma yoga. That's what it says. Kimuktam bhavati. Many doubts arise here. There is no need for Atmadarshana while performing karma. There may be a lot of doubts which may arise here, that what is the need for Atmadarshana while performing karma. While doing karma, it is very difficult, extremely difficult to contemplate simultaneously on knowledge of the self. While contemplating on the self, it is impossible to be performing karma, and all these doubts may come. How is it possible to do all these? They are all clarified here. So it is not impossible to do both at the same time, is the answer. Shastra ordains only karma which is qualified by knowledge of the self. That is what is ordained by the Shastra. So there is no Bhinna Shastra Arthatva, is not there. So these two aspects are not two different things taught by Shastra, but it is a qualified one. That is Jnana Vishishta Karma. That is what is taught here. So with this we can also see Deshika quotes in Tatparya Chandrika. In our normal experience, we can see that one is able to walk and see at the same time, walk, see and talk at the same time, Prekshana, Gamana, all these things are Sambhashana, all these things which one is able to do simultaneously, many such things. So it is not that it is impossible to do like that. And that is seen in practice. So that is what is Shastra is telling. So also one cannot say that there is no use at the same time, because both the doing is going to be a moksha sadhana, that is leading to liberation. Kriyamanameva karma atmayathatma jnana sandhanena jnanakaram yaha pashyate. So ubhayam here, ubhayam sampannam bhavati means jnana vishishtatva of karma and karma vishishtatva of jnana. Both will be proper. So ubhayam sampannam bhavati. Both can be achieved and both are true, because one is that karma is jnana vishishta, jnana is karma vishishta. The meaning of buddhiman, the matu pratyaya in buddhiman, is one who has prakrishta buddhihi, one who has understood the meanings of the entire Shastra and put it to practice. So this is also in line with what is told later in the shloka, Kritsna karma krite. So the buddhiman manushyeshu. The yuktaha Kritsna karma krite. Manushyeshu saha yuktaha is mokshaya arhaha. That is also very significant. The words buddhiman and Kritsna karma krite indicate jnana and anusthana. Both buddhiman, Kritsna karma krite. Jnana and anusthana. So the phalayogyatva for the fruits for such a person will become eligible, as to be told as by yuktaha. So that is why Bhashya is mokshaya arhaha. Sayeva Krishna karma. One who is addressed as saha buddhiman, saha yuktaha, etc. is Sayeva Krishna karma krite. So Bhashya is making it still clear. Sayeva Krishna karma krite. Krishna shastrartha krite is the meaning of that. So that is the meaning of the 18th shloka. Continuing further, shloka 19. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagdha karmanam tamahuhu panditam budhaha. Again, very significant words are there in this shloka, also explained very, very, very properly, appropriately, according to the context. Pratyakshena kriyamanasya karmanaha jnanakarata katham upapadyate ityatra. Normal doubt anybody will get. Karma is jnanakara, jnana is karmakara, was told in the earlier shloka. How can karma become jnanakara? What is we are seeing directly, that is, we are seeing somebody doing some work, performing something, executing some work, etc. How can that become jnanakara? That is a natural doubt that arises here. Pratyakshena kriyamanasya karmanaha. that is being done, jnanakarata katham upapadyate. How can it be told of the form of jnana, of knowledge? That is answered in the next shloka. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpavarjitaha jnanagni dagdha karmanam tamahuhu panditam buddhaha. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpavarjitaha tam panditam buddhaha jnanagni dagdha karmanam ahuhu. That is the Anvaya. Yasya sarve samarambhaha, one whose activities, all the activities or pursuits of all kinds are kama sankalpa varjitaha. This is the meaning, again have to be noted, very significant meanings for these words. Bereft of association with the fruits and the idea of oneness or identity with Prakriti. Sankalpa is explained as identity with Prakriti, matter. Tam panditam, such a knowledgeable one, Buddhaha jnana agni dagdha karmana mahuhu. So the Buddhaha means those who are well versed in the Shastras, Shastrajnaha. They say that such a person has his sins burnt in the fire of the form of knowledge. Jnana agni dagdha karmana mahuhu, the knowledge of the self. So he has his sins burnt in the fire of the form of knowledge of the self. Bhashya for this is Yasya sarve samarambhaha. The words are Yasya sarve samarambhaha. Look like very ordinary words, but the meanings are Yasya means mumukshoho. That is the context here. Sarve means dravyarjanadi laukika karma purvaka nitya naimittika kamya rupa karma samarambhaha. Sarve samarambhaha is explained as Sarve dravyarjanadi laukika karma purvaka nitya naimittika kamya rupa karma samarambhaha. Kama sankalpa varjitaha. Kama varjitaha sankalpa varjitascha. That is Anvaya. Kama varjitaha palasangarahitaha. Sankalpa varjitascha. Prakritya tad gunaischa. Atmanam ekikritya anusandhanam sankalpaha. Prakriti viyukta atmaswarupa anusandhana yuktataya tad rahitaha. That is the meaning of kama sankalpa varjitaha explained in the Bhashya. Tat evam karma kurvanam panditam tam panditam evam karma kurvanam panditam karma antargata atma yathatmya jnana agdina dagdha prachina karmana mahuhu tatvajnaha. Buddhaha is tatvajnaha. Ataha karmano jnanakaratvam upapadyate. So it is justified and it is reasonable that karma is jnanakara is explained in this shloka. Yasya sarve samarambhaha. How is it that it can become jnanakara is explained here. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha. So when it becomes kama sankalpa varjita, then that becomes jnana. Anagni dagdha karmanam tamahu panditam buddhaha. One who is a mumukshu, desirous of getting liberated, tasya mumukshoho. Sarve dravyarjanadi laukika karma purvaka nitya naimittika kamya rupa karma samarambhaha. All activities or all duties, karmas, starting with the worldly activities such as earning all the materialistic requirements and everything needed for performing the nitya naimittika kamya karmas, and including the nitya naimittika kamya karmas also, everything included, all these karma samarambhaha, all nature of activities which are being done, all the duties, all the karmas that are being done, they are all kama varjitaha, means phala sangarahitaha, without any attachment to fruits, without any association with fruits. Sankalpa varjitascha, and also performed without the idea that it identity with the matter, that dehatma brahme, that is deha only is the atma, that is sankalpa. Sankalpa varjita means without the such an idea, without such a thought. That is knowing very clearly that atma is very different from the body. Prakritya tad gunaischa atmanam ekikritya anusandhanam sankalpaha. So thinking that it is Atma is same as Prakriti and the gunas, and that gunaischa Atmanam ekikritya. And so, because how can it be without such a knowledge, without such a thought? Prakriti viyukta Atma Swarupa Anusandhana Yuktataya. So, thinking that Atma is very different and detached from the Prakriti, which is the matter. Tam evam karma kurvanam panditam. One who does karmas like this, he is called a pandita. And such a person will have all his sins destroyed by the fire of karma antargata atmayathatmya jnanagnina. Jnanagni dagdha karmanam. Jnanagni, the knowledge, the fire of the form of knowledge. And what is the jnana? Karma antargata atmayathatma jnana. Again here we have to notice that it is karma antargata, it is karma yoga prakarana. So karma antargata jnana, atmayathatma jnana. So what is an essential part of the karma yoga? With that anusandhana of the real nature of the individual self, he will have all his prachina karma, dagdha prachina karma namahubu tattvajnaha, those who are well versed in the shastras. Ataha karmano jnanakaratvam upritteven. Such a being, karma yoga is being done like that, it takes the very form of knowledge itself, and it is reasonable. So the doubt is that how can a karma which is seen to be being done, which is seen being done in pratyaksha, that is directly we are perceiving that somebody doing some actions, how can it be said to be having the form of knowledge? And shastra or logic cannot establish something which is opposed to pratyaksha. So only when something which cannot be seen in pratyaksha can be known by either tarka or by shastra, that is Veda, etc. But what is being perceived directly, shastra cannot say something different from that, opposed to that. So and also jnanakara means something which we knew long back, which we have lost memory of that, and a small remnant of it is still present in the memory, can be said to be of the form of knowledge. Something which remember a little bit about something which was done long back, that can be told to be jnanakara, because it is existing as a memory, as a jnana. So that can be told. How can the karma being done in pratyaksha, we are seeing directly, perceiving the karma being done. How can that be told to be of the form of knowledge? That is a doubt here. So the word is mumukshoho, sarve samarambha. Sarve is the mula shloka without any reduction in scope. So Bhashya is dravyarjanadi, means starting with dravyarjana, etc. and including everything, nitya, naimittika, kamya, rupa karma, all the vividha karmas. They are all kama varjitaha, kama sankalpa varjitaha. Here the general word kama is taken for a karma yoga. It is to be taken as what is the desire for doing any karma, what is the purpose of doing any karma is to get the fruits of the karma itself. So kama here is, kama means phalasanga. That is what is the meaning of kama explained here. And this word is a very significant meaning in our Bhashya, very, very unique, kama sankalpa varjitaha. So the samasa has to be dvandva samasa here. It should not be, it is not that it is to be treated as kama eva sankalpaha or kamanam sankalpaha. That is not the samasa. Kamascha sankalpascha is the meaning. That is dvandva samasa, because both are having equal importance. And when it is possible to interpret like that, giving equal importance to both, it is only justified that one has to use dvandva samasa. Kama sankalpabhyam varjitaha. That is how the meaning has to be taken. And the phala applicable in karma prakarana is nothing but phala sangha, interest in or attachment to or association with the fruits. And so kama varjitaha is interpreted as phala sangha varjitaha. Sankalpa is very, very significantly interpreted by Bhashyakara. Sankalpa is a general word, and it is not karmanusthana sankalpa. So, because if karmanusthana sankalpa is not there, anusthana itself is not possible. So how can it be sankalpa varjita? Then anusthana itself will become impossible. So it is not karmanusthana sankalpa, And when one is trying to do karma yoga, it cannot be done without sankalpa. So that cannot be the meaning here for sankalpa. It is also not phala sankalpa, because it is already told as kama varjitaha. That is one who is without phala sanga. So that is also being told already. That cannot be the meaning. So that is how it has to have some meaning which is useful in the context of teaching of knowledge of the self detached from matter. So the Bhashya is according to that. In the word sankalpa, some means ekikara, or idea of oneness or identity, and kalpaha means bhranti jnana, kalpa, wrong knowledge or confusion. So having an idea that body, which is the modification of matter or prakriti, is Atma. That is the sankalpa, meaning of sankalpa here, because that has to be told as to be given up. Sankalpa varjitaha. What is to be given up for a karma yogi, one who is doing karma yoga with the knowledge of the self, is that identity of matter with the self. That has to be first given up. So that is why the meaning of sankalpa is explained very significantly as the identity, the thinking that body itself is Atman. That is what is sankalpa, and that has to be given up. Sankalpa varjita. That is what is the meaning of that. That gunaishcha ekikritya anusandhanam means thinking that the gunaishcha, that is also explained clearly in Tatparya Chandrika. The specific acts that ensue due to the qualities of the matter, or all due to the self, thinking that what are the activities that we are doing, so many things that are doing here, they are all becoming because of the association with matter, and it is not in the real nature of the self. So the actions such as eating or sleeping, etc., and doing karmas, all these are coming because of association with matter. That is the influence of sattva, rajas, tamas, and so many other things. Or it can also mean that Deva, Manusha, etc., and all these various births that one takes, they are all because of the effects of sattva, rajas, tamas of prakriti, that one does so many activities, and according to those activities and according to the levels of these sattva, rajas, tamas, etc., one gets various births, Deva, Manusha, Krimi, Kita, Pashu, etc. So that is all because of the association with matter, and it is not in the real nature of the Atman. Or it can also mean that sthulatva, krishatva, shuklatva, krishnatva, these are all because of the qualities of the matter, and they are not atma gunas, they are not qualities of the Atman. So they are all not. So that gunaishcha eki kritya means all these that we see, the various aspects of prakriti, various in the body, which is a modification of the matter, and all the influence of the qualities of the prakriti, which we are seeing on the Atman, they are all prakriti gunas and they are not atma gunas. So having, that is, if one giving up the idea that they are all due to prakriti and association with matter that is coming, and it is not in the nature of the Atman, and Atman is pure and in consciousness, jnanananda swarupa, and he is subservient to the Lord, and thinking all these, the real nature of the Atman as distinct and different from that of the body, and that is sankalpa varjitatva. That is what is told here, that sankalpa varjana, that is one has to leave that kind of a thing, and also not have any desire in the fruits of the karmas that one is doing, kama varjana. So kama varjitaha, sankalpa varjitascha. So that is what is being applicable completely in karma yoga prakarana, and that is how it is explained very significantly in the Bhashya for this particular shloka. So this includes also, of course, various other thinkings like thinking that griha, kshetra, and all those things are one's own. Asve swamiti yamatihi. So what is not belonging to us as belonging to us, all these are included in this. They are all kama sankalpa varjitaha, includes everything, all these things. So, and that will come only because of prakriti viyukta atma swarupa anusandhana yuktateya. The atma swarupa is prakriti viyukta. That is, it is not associated. It is associated with matter only because of the karmas, and it is not in the real nature that it is having all these qualities. So thinking or doing anusandhana or continuous contemplation that the doer in the body is totally different from the body, and his nature is very different, is eternal, and he is jnanananda swarupa, he is subservient to the Lord, and in the real nature he does not have all these things, and this continuous thinking of this while performing the karmas, mechanically doing all the karmas, but at the same time thinking about the Atman, the kartuhu atmanaha yatatnya anusandhanam, that is always thinking about the real nature of the Atman in a continuously, constantly and consciously. That leads to the karma being jnanakara itself after some time, and that is how it leads to Atma Sakshatkara. So one will understand completely the real nature of the Atman, and then one will be eligible to go to Bhakti Yoga, etc. So that is how the jnanakara of karma is justified in this particular shloka in the Bhashya very significantly. Evam karma tam panditam, evam karma kuvanam panditam. Such a person only can be called pandita. Pandita, the real vyutpatti for pandita is panda, means uha poha kshama buddhihi panda. Panda is buddhi, that is mind, that is intellect. And what is the kind of buddhi? Uha apoha kshama. So one should know what is right and what is not right, etc. One should be able to understand very clearly after listening to the Shastras through an Acharya. Uha apoha means he will extend and he will justify with proper logic supporting the Shastras that this is only correct, this is not correct, and things like that. So he knows very clearly that the body keeps perishing and somebody is born, somebody is dying, etc. So it is not sthira, it is not nitya, and Atma is nitya, and Atma is very different from the body. So all these things can be known by listening to the Shastra and then further supporting it with logic which is in line with the Shastra, that is Uha Poha Kshama Dhihi, that is Panda, Sasya Sanjata iti Panditaha. One who has such a mind, such an intellect is called a Pandita. So Tamahuhu Panditam Buddhaha means one who has the Viveka Jnana, the discriminatory knowledge of what is Heya, what is Upadeya, that is the body and the Atman, the difference between the two and the nature of the two, and what is to be accepted, what is to be rejected. All these having a clear and distinct knowledge of all this Viveka, that is the discriminatory knowledge. He is called a Pandita, and such a person, karma antargata atma yathatma jnana agnina dagda prachina karmanamahu tattvajnaha. Such a knowledgeable one has all his sins of yore burned by the fire of the form of knowledge of the real nature of the self, which is very much an essential and embedded part of the karma. So the word prachina karma is also significant because it does not destroy the karma being done presently, because karma yoga itself cannot be done in that case. And it is also what is going to be done in future, because those things are to be taken care of in Bhakti Yoga. So Vidya Mahatmya, that is the power of Bhakti Yoga or Upasana, that will destroy all the reminiscent karma and everything at the end. So here Prachina is added as an adjective here by Bhashyakara. Prachina Karmanam. Dagda Prachina Karmanam Ahuhu Tattvajnaha. So that is to be understood here. So the Jnana is also not something which is independent knowledge, some other jnana about something else, but it is karma antargata atmayadha atmi jnana. That is again to be noted very clearly. In the context of karma yoga, the importance of the knowledge of the self is as being very much part of the karma is being taught, and that is what is told here. Tattvajnaha means those who have the right knowledge about the self, who is to be attained, and also about karma yoga, which is the means to attain such a knowledge. They are called Tattvajnaha. Ataha karmano jnanakaratvam upapadyate. Because of all these reasons, the fact that the karma itself becomes jnanakara, it takes the form of knowledge of the self itself. After a long time, when one is performing karmas like this, the continuous contemplation of the nature of the self, while doing the karma, it naturally and progressively takes the form of jnana itself, and then he will be eligible to go to Bhakti Yoga. So that is Atma Sakshatkara, when he will have a complete knowledge of the self, and he will be completely established in the self. Knowledge is the real nature of the self. That is being told as the Jnanakara of karma, and that has been explained in this shloka very significantly by Bhashyakara. So this prakarana has most wonderful shlokas and has been explained very, very significantly. Every word has to be explained. Even in future shlokas, one has to be very carefully studying all this. So with that, we have come to the end of the class. We shall take up the next few shlokas in the next class. Tyaktva karmaphala sangam nityatrupto nirashrayah karmanyabhipravartopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. And Nirashihi etachittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti kilbisham yadrcha labha santushtaha dvandvatitaha vimatsaraha samasiddhau asiddhau cha krutvapi na nibadhyate gata sangasya muktasya jnanavasthita chetasaha yajñāyācharatah karma samagram pravidīyate brahmarpanam brahmavi brahmagno brahmanahutam brahmaiva tena gantavyam brahma karma samadhina. All very, very significant shlokas which we shall take up the next few shlokas in the next session, with that I shall conclude the session offering my pranamams to all the Bhagavatas in this satsanga. Srimate rAmAnuja namaha. Sarvam Shri Krishna arpanamastu. Any questions? I shall leave the class open for any questions. So if there are no questions, we shall conclude today's session. Srimate rAmAnuja namaha. Sarvam Shri Krishna arpanamastu.